All right. Well, finally, the heroic adventures that were spawned from The Flash and from other CW shows. Supergirl, originally airing on, what was it, CBS?
CBS, yes.
I actually was very, very, very skeptical about Supergirl
Yeah,
at
me too.
first, like really skeptical. And I really think there was a lot of, rightfully so. I mean, I was just kind of like, why you're having a solo Supergirl show? It's on CBS. I was like, eh. And then I'm like, why don't you? And I'm like, you're really just piggybacking off of kind of like how a lot of people were accusing Marvel of doing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., basically,
Right.
that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was just piggybacking off of, let's drop like Avengers references, and that's what keeps people interested. It's like they kept dropping like Superman this, Superman that, Lex Luthor this, but never having the character show up. And then finally they did that, and so Supergirl actually really surprised me. I thought season 1 was actually rather good for the production it had. I think the two biggest things I had to applaud them for was Melissa Benoist, I think is her name, if I'm pronouncing that right. Is that she's actually really well cast as Supergirl, and I really enjoyed Callista Flockhart as her boss, as a Cat. And so
Cat.
her presence on the show is like really brings a lot of comedic relief in terms of like just the flavor that she brings, and she's almost to me more interesting to watch than any iteration of Perry White that I've seen on screen.
Yeah.
She's a really cool character. And fun fact, Callista Flockhart is actually married in real life to Harrison Ford. So
Really?
yeah,
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. So you can kind of see, like, I could just imagine Harrison Ford sitting at home watching Supergirl, and I'm like, that's kind of a fun thought.
Yeah.
But anyways, to like wrap up on Supergirl, because there was some cool things that happened at the end of the season, but I mean, there was they've announced that Jimmy Olsen is going to have a new love interest. He's not going to be with what's her name, the general's daughter anymore.
Yeah.
The possibility of Mon-El returning.
Back. He needs to. They shouldn't have. Why they get rid of him?
So Mon-El saying he's going to be coming back, and then they're also saying that Kara's mom, that they dropped this little nugget saying that Kara's mom actually Kara's mom is actually has the possibility of actually being alive.
Yeah.
And that she actually escaped and fled to the Phantom Zone and has been hiding out in the Phantom Zone since the destruction of Krypton.
Nice.
And that would actually be really fascinating to see at least another member of that bloodline at least survive, because because everybody else, I mean, Kara and Clark are technically the only Kryptonians really alive now at this point. And they did say that one of the biggest things we'll be dealing with is kind of like how they're kind of taking the Flash route with how Flash after his father passed away, after he was killed by Zoom in season 2,
went and made Flashpoint.
Well, not so much Flashpoint. Like, Kara's not going to create Flashpoint in her own show, but they said that she's going to have a more humanizing, like, step away. She's going to have this dark like path. Like, she's going to be brooding and wondering if it's even worth it to continue on as Supergirl. Like, she's going to be having a conflict.
Like a second thoughts, internal battle type deal.
To finish off with Supergirl, though, I think the important thing to note is that they did unveil that the crossover is going to be a 2-night event. It's going to be November 27th and 28th. We're going to have a lot of really cool things coming to the crossover. We're going to have a lot of... They also said a lot of interactions, kind of like how they did with Walking Dead. They kind of promised a lot of different combinations of characters meeting up.
And the thing about this crossover is the Supergirl episode is going to be a legitimate crossover episode. Like, it's not going to be
last year.
Like, it's not going to be the last 3 minutes where they put a scene from Flash into the like basically have that be the tag to lead into the 3-night crossover.
I was actually really disappointed with that, because like I felt like it was a really weak way for them to start off on the crossover last year is literally the last minute of the episode was Flash showing up and then talking about that.
I just can't wait for the crossover. But
sending it back on over to you.
That's all for today's episode. Thank you guys for watching.
And be sure to like this video and subscribe.
And click the link in the description below to follow us on social media.
See you guys next time.